Air travel is often seen as one of the safest ways to move across the world. But throughout history, airplanes have also been the stage for some of the most shocking acts of terror. From political statements to global tragedies, these hijackings changed aviation forever. Today, we count down the top 10 most shocking airplane hijackings in history. Sit back, relax, and watch till number 1. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Let's start.
Number 10. Dawson's Field Hijackings, 1970, Jordan. In September 1970, the world watched in shock as 4 airliners were hijacked almost simultaneously by the Palestinian group the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. 3 of the planes were forced to land at a remote desert airstrip in Jordan known as Dawson's Field. Passengers were released, but the planes themselves became symbols of defiance. The hijackers blew them up on the runway in a dramatic display for the cameras. This event was one of the first coordinated international hijackings, sending a chilling message that airplanes had become tools of political warfare.
Number 9. Lufthansa Flight 181, 1977, Somalia. In October 1977, Lufthansa Flight 181, carrying over 80 people, was hijacked by 4 Palestinian militants supporting Germany's Red Army faction. The ordeal dragged on for 5 terrifying days as the aircraft crisscrossed the Middle East. Passengers endured hunger, heat, and constant death threats, while the hijackers demanded the release of imprisoned comrades. Finally, in Mogadishu, Somalia, the German counterterrorism unit GSG-9 stormed the plane in a daring night raid. In just minutes, they killed 3 hijackers, captured 1, and freed all hostages. The mission became a textbook example of successful counterterrorism.
Number 8. TWA Flight 847, 1985, Athens to Rome. On June 14, 1985, Trans World Airlines Flight 847 was hijacked shortly after leaving Athens. The hijackers, linked to Hezbollah, diverted the plane to Beirut. For 17 days, the plane and its passengers were used as pawns in a high-stakes political game. During the ordeal, U.S. Navy diver Robert Steatham was brutally murdered, his body thrown onto the tarmac as a warning. Passengers were beaten, threatened, and held in shifting locations across the Middle East. Eventually, after prolonged negotiations, the remaining hostages were freed, but the brutality of this hijacking left scars on international diplomacy and showed how vulnerable global travel still was.
Good afternoon. The 39 Americans held hostage for 17 days by terrorists in Lebanon are free, safe, and at this moment on their way to Frankfurt, Germany. They'll be home again soon. This is a moment of joy for them, for their loved ones, and for our nation. And America opens its heart in a prayer of thanks to Almighty God.
Number 7. Pan Am Flight 73, 1986, Karachi, Pakistan. September 5, 1986, Pan Am Flight 73 sat on the tarmac in Karachi, Pakistan, preparing for its long journey to New York. Suddenly, 4 armed men dressed as airport staff stormed the plane, seizing control before takeoff. The passengers, nearly 400 in total, were trapped for 16 terrifying hours. The hijackers, members of the Abu Nadal organization, demanded the release of Palestinian prisoners. Tension reached its peak when Pakistani commandos attempted an assault. In response, the gunmen opened fire inside the cabin, killing 20 passengers and injuring over 100. The massacre became one of the bloodiest hijackings of the decade and forced airlines to rethink security during boarding.
Number 6. Kuwait Airways Flight 422, 1988. In April 1988, Kuwait Airways Flight 422 was hijacked during a routine trip from Bangkok to Kuwait. The hijackers, believed to be linked to Hezbollah, forced the plane on a 16-day odyssey across the Middle East. As the jet landed in Cyprus, then Algeria, and beyond, passengers lived in constant fear. Demands for the release of prisoners grew louder, and when negotiations failed, the hijackers murdered 2 hostages to prove their seriousness. This hijacking was one of the longest in aviation history and exposed the difficulty of coordinating international counterterrorism efforts.
Number 5. Air France Flight 8969, 1994, Algiers to Paris. Christmas week, 1994, 4 members of the armed Islamic group boarded Air France Flight 8969 in Algiers, disguised as security officers. Their true mission was chilling: to seize the plane and crash it into the Eiffel Tower. For 2 days, the plane sat on the ground in Algeria, with hijackers executing passengers to prove their resolve. Eventually, the plane was flown to Marseille, France. There, French special forces stormed the jet in a spectacular rescue operation. All 4 hijackers were killed. The passengers survived, and France narrowly avoided a disaster that could have mirrored later tragedies.
Number 4. Indian Airlines Flight 814, 1999, Kathmandu to Delhi. On Christmas Eve 1999, passengers on Indian Airlines Flight 814 expected a short trip from Nepal to India. Instead, 5 armed hijackers seized the plane and forced it on a journey across South Asia, finally landing in Kandahar, Afghanistan. For 7 long days, passengers were held hostage while the hijackers demanded the release of Islamist militants from Indian prisons. 1 passenger was stabbed to death, sending fear through the rest of the group. Eventually, India gave in, freeing 3 high-profile terrorists in exchange for the lives of the passengers. The decision haunted Indian security for years to come.
Number 3. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961, 1996, crash in Comoros Islands. November 23, 1996, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 was en route from Addis Ababa when 3 hijackers stormed the cockpit. They demanded the plane be flown to Australia, ignoring the captain's warnings that the aircraft did not have enough fuel. As fuel ran out, the plane crash-landed in the Indian Ocean near the Comoros Islands. The impact tore the aircraft apart in the water. Out of 175 people on board, 125 lost their lives. The crash was one of the deadliest outcomes of a hijacking and served as a grim reminder of the cost of desperation in the skies.
Number 2. Entebbe hijacking, Air France Flight 139, 1976, Uganda. In June 1976, Air France Flight 139 was hijacked by Palestinian and German militants and diverted to Entebbe Airport in Uganda. With the support of dictator Idi Amin, the hijackers held over 100 hostages, separating Jewish and Israeli passengers from the rest. As the world watched, Israel prepared a daring rescue. On July 4th, Israeli commandos stormed the airport in what became known as Operation Entebbe. In less than an hour, nearly all hostages were freed. All hijackers were killed, along with several Ugandan soldiers. The mission stunned the world and is still studied as one of the most successful hostage rescues in history. Number 1. September 11th Attacks, 2001, USA.
September 11, 2001, the day that changed the world forever. 4 commercial airliners in the United States were hijacked by Al-Qaeda terrorists. 2 were flown into the World Trade Center towers in New York, a third into the Pentagon, and a 4th crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers bravely fought back. Nearly 3,000 people were killed, making it the deadliest terrorist attack in aviation history. The attacks reshaped global politics, sparked wars, and permanently changed how airports and airlines operate. From that day forward, the world would never look at flying the same way again.
And here you have it, from number 10 down to 1. These hijackings, spanning decades and continents, reveal the fear and chaos that can unfold at 30,000 feet. They also remind us of resilience, of passengers, of rescue teams, and of nations that vowed to make flying safer. Which of these events do you think changed history the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.